Mr. Mayor, we are live and ready.
All right, sounds good. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's a meeting of the Seldovia City Council, Monday, May 12th, 2025. Time is 6:02 p.m. And we'll go ahead and do roll call. Rojas.
Here.
Kennedy.
Here.
Peyton.
Here.
Langbart.
Here.
And Barber.
Here.
Okay, we have 5 out of 6 council members. Let the record reflect that Councilmember Keithley is out tonight on an excused absence. And if Liz or Heidi, if one of you could lead us off in the pledge, that'd be great.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, item C, as we said, Councilmember Keithley she's excused tonight. Item D, agenda approval. We'll go ahead and look for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Rojas to approve tonight's agenda with a second by Kennedy. Any further discussion on the agenda before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the approval of tonight's agenda. All those in favor, Rojas.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Peyton.
Aye.
Langbart.
Aye.
And Barber.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes with 5 in the affirmative and 1 absent. Item E, consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda are approved with a single motion, no discussion, and 1 vote. A council member may request to remove any item for discussion and a separate vote. Items removed from the consent agenda will be placed under new business. Tonight's consent agenda consists of item E1, approval of the minutes from the regular meeting, April 28th, 2025. Item E2, which is an ordinance introduction. There's 2 of them. First one is ordinance 25-12A, a non-code ordinance of the city of Seldovia, Alaska, accepting the FY 2026 fee schedule, Appendix A of the fiscal year 2026 budget. This is recommended for public hearing on 5/27 of 25. The second item is item E2B. This is also ordinance introduction. This is ordinance 25-12B, a non-code ordinance of the city of Seldovia, Alaska, appropriating funds, Appendix B, annual budget for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026. This is also recommended for public hearing on May 27th, 2025. Those are obviously our 2 major items over the culmination of the past four months of budget talks. So those will be hopefully introduced tonight and then public hearing and rationalized or finalized here before the end of the month. Last 2 items on your consent agenda tonight is item E3A, resolution 25-47, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Seldovia, Alaska, establishing the City of Seldovia property tax mill rate at 7.5 mils for the fiscal year 2026. And that is no change from where we've been. Item 3B, resolution 25-48, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Seldovia, Alaska, appropriating FY 26 community assistance funds. That is your consent agenda for the evening. Does any member wish to remove any item at this time for later discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and look for a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Mayor Campbell,
Yep, go ahead, John.
I'd like to make a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda as read.
I'll go ahead and second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Kennedy to approve tonight's consent agenda with no changes. We have a second by Langbart. Any further discussion on the consent agenda before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the approval of tonight's consent agenda. All those in favor, Rojas,
Aye.
Kennedy,
Aye.
Peyton,
Aye.
Langbart,
Aye.
and Barber.
Aye.
Motion passes with 5 in the affirmative and 1 absent. All right, moving right through this. Item F, mayoral proclamations. We have none tonight. Item G, public presentation, prior notice. I don't see anybody signed up. I assume that's still good, Liz?
That's still correct, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, item H, public presentation for items not on the agenda. Do we have anyone signed up this evening?
Not at the moment. I'm looking at Miss Laurel, but her hand is not up, so.
Sounds good. Item
Oh,
I.
Mr. Mayor, her hand is up now if you want to roll back there.
All right, sounds good.
I was saying, I'm coming. I couldn't find my screen.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I was trying to stall as much as I could.
Well, I'll say that the view is kind of like, okay, I minimize it because really we're minimal. So, but well, what an amazing May we're having and how great that well, just so many things are happening in the community, and we just had a wonderful cold water safety training for children ages kindergarten through I think our highest was 8th grade, 7th, 8th grade. So a lot of kids taking part in that. Wonderful outreach from AMSE, AMSEA, Anna Borland, Ivy, and then Joanna and Tanya Sperklin, our very own from the school district's migrant ed program. And then the support of lifeguards, we had, I think it was Liz, Sherry, Amelia, and Jen Swick all up there helping to make sure it was a great event. And capped off by the donation of a life raft by the Swicks and Alora S. that we were able to expand, so pop it open. And then all of the kids had the opportunity to practice flipping it right there on the ball field. So that was just an excellent cap on a great training. And we have a definite heart to see. Oh, thanks, Heidi. She's like, there's a better view. We have a definite heart to see folks have a chance to jump into the bay and to get into that cold water. So we'll be looking for this summer ways that we can do a little bit of cold water safety, maybe write some rafts or kayaks or things so that the kids can experience what that feels like going through that actual cold. So I did hear that once the school students had a chance to have cold water in the pool when the heater wasn't working. So that gave them a little bit of an example as well. So that being said, we're just continuing on with great activities here in the community. You may have seen that Noelle Horde will be having a graduation ceremony on Friday this week. So she's Seldovia's senior this year, graduating. And on Saturday, there will be free boat rides for all the kids in town to either go up Seldovia Bay to do some birding or to push out to Gull Island. So hopefully all the kids have signed up and their parents can come along with them as well. So that's a great free and fun educational opportunity. Seldovia Bay Ferries running this weekend and we'll be utilizing the new dock at the Alaska Tribal Cache Building. So for folks, especially in the business realm that have clients, customers, friends, family coming to town, they're going to be coming in at the ATC building there by the State Ferry parking and making their way through town and then departing it that same way. And if anybody is traveling for day travel, they are free to park in that parking lot. But any travel that is beyond a turn and burn, same day travel, will need to happen elsewhere. So I would just be aware that we'll see vehicles in fun new places as people get acclimated or calibrated to that change. So Otherwise, I think we're moving forward full steam ahead. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Laurel. Be nice to see the fast ferry running again, so appreciate the updates there.
Yep, and you'll recognize Captain Jeremy at the helm. So he was with us a couple years ago.
Oh, great. Good, good. All right. All right. Anyone else signed up, Liz, tonight?
No, we do not have anyone else signed up, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, sounds good. Move on to item I, committee and advisory board reports. Looks like no one tonight. That's still good.
That's still correct.
Okay, item J, administrative reports. None listed tonight. Item K, public hearings, none listed tonight. Item L, unfinished business, none tonight. That'll take us down to item M, new business. Item M1, resolution 25-49, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Seldovia, Alaska, accepting a $30,000 reimbursement from the Environmental Protection Agency lead service line inventory grant for the completion of the initial inventory for the Seldovia water system. And we'll go ahead and let the city manager give us the backstory on this one.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is going to be all the way at the back of your packet, pretty much at the end there, page 133. And this legislation is a vehicle to accept the $30,000 reimbursement from our lead service line inventory that was completed for the city of Seldovia, and then allocate or appropriate that into the major maintenance and repair fund in order to facilitate future maintenance and improvement needs, such as we've talked about media, the purchase of media or pump replacement. So this puts that in there instead of just in the water fund, that it would just be an ending fund balance. So taking the initiative and appropriating that right into the MMRF, and then knowing it's there for future use. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll open it up to council for any questions or comments on resolution 25-49. I had one quick question on this. I read through a little bit. It looks like we had no findings. There was a multitude of criteria there. Did any other little nuggets come to fruition when you guys were going through this at all, or was it pretty straightforward with the amount of information that you had to provide to meet the conditions of the grant?
It's pretty straightforward. Our remote supervisor through our alternative method of system supervision, Todd Cook, came over and he helped start the process. And then we had Radzi carry on through and they were able to include 245 active service lines. No lead was found or noted in our system. And so we'll continue as we also sent out surveys and people came forward and provided information that they had on their service lines. And we'll continue this process as we move forward. But I believe we were able to complete the majority of the inventory. I don't remember if it's 70-80%, and we'll continue working on it, but it's we were completed as much as we were required and then some, and with successful results.
Good. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Yeah, obviously I'll be in support of approving resolution 25-49. Appreciate you guys getting that going, and glad to have the help from our folks on the other side there. Anyone else? Questions, comments on resolution 25-49?
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Yeah, go ahead, Vivian.
Yeah, if you could refresh my memory, the $30,000 that was originally used, that got reimbursed, what account did that get taken out of? And then I know our discussion was to put it into the major maintenance, but could you refresh my memory where it came from originally?
Yes, so thank you. That is staff time. So Radzi's and Todd's time to complete this inventory is where this came from. And the 30,000 was, they call it a reimbursement, but it's really more because we've completed the inventory and it's not determined on how much we've spent, but that we've completed it on 245 services.
Okay, so it was the work of two individuals.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments, or resolution
Mayor?
25-49? Yep, go ahead.
Sorry, I should reiterate, it was not just the work of two individuals. We did hire a local contractor who went out and helped people perform the inspection at their services. So there was some funds that went towards that. Yes.
That's right. Yes, thank you.
All right, if there's nothing else on that, we'll open it up. See if there's anyone from the public that had any questions or comments that was signed up tonight.
No one has signed up, Mr. Mayor, and I'm not seeing any hands online.
Okay, sounds good. All right, we'll bring resolution 25-49 back to council for final action this evening.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we accept resolution 25-49.
Okay, do we have any seconds?
I'll second that, Mayor Campbell.
Okay, we have a motion by Rojas to approve resolution 25-49 with a second by Councilmember Kennedy. Any further discussion on resolution 25-49 before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we will vote on the approval of resolution 25-49. All those in favor, Rojas.
Aye.
Kennedy,
Aye.
Payton,
Aye.
Langbart,
Aye.
and Barber.
Aye.
Motion passes with 5 in the affirmative and 1 absent. All right, that'll take us down to item M2, which is resolution 25-50, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Seldovia, Alaska, authorizing the acceptance of federal fiscal year 2024 Community Development Block Grant Program funding in the amount of $241,557, committing in-kind and matching cash funds to the project, and authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute all appropriate documents. And Heidi, you can go ahead and take it away with the backstory on this one.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this has previously been discussed, and I believe at the last budget meeting it came up about where those matching funds would come from. And it was requested that I reach back out to CDBG and see if there is a way that the scope of work could be amended, looking at more of a whole project for a building instead of just a roof. I did reach out to CDBG, and they did confirm that while it's technically possible, it's highly discouraged. They had recently had a site or a community that had a CDBG for a whole building, and just to change the site location, they've stumbled into a lot of roadblocks and extra costs for environmental reviews, different reporting and permitting requirements. One thing that he mentioned is certainly for us, changing that scope to that larger scope would change that environmental review requirement for us, and that would cost additional, or would have additional costs associated with that. It would change the requirements of Section 3, some of the reporting requirements, and that the project needs to be awarded by October, and it has to be closed within 5 years. He also said that in order to award the project, they would need the engineering design, an RFP, and matching funding on board before we were able to receive the CDBG funding. And reminded me that, as we know from when we completed the project on the multipurpose building, that the CDBG funding has some of the strictest reporting requirements for their funding program. And as I stated, just that it's a little bit of a challenge to change So with that, I wanted to recommend that we go ahead and move forward with repairing the roof for this building. And the other item I wanted to note, well, two items. So of course, the in-kind match will be in kind with material and personnel and staging, not material, sorry, personnel and staging. And then the cash match I'm recommending come from the what did I state in here? The unassigned, sorry, I was looking up something else, so I got distracted. The unassigned funds from the MMRF, which the MMRF contains those funds. The other thing I wanted to point out is that we do have an administration category under this grant. So there it is a little bit of swapping funds to speak. And I just wanted to pull out how much of those match there is. So there's a 5% administration included. So that's 10,000 that the city would be receiving back through this project for the administration of the project. So while it doesn't quite cover all of that cash match, I just wanted to say that just point that out that there is a little bit of funds that come back from staff's assistance in this project. And with that, I will turn it over for any questions that you guys have.
Okay, thank you, Heidi. One question right out of the gate on the letter. When I was reading through that, it talks about, and you had just mentioned also the environmental review requirements. What do those look like for the current grant application as it sits?
So as it sits, because it's just a replacement of existing infrastructure, if it's similar to how, and that's what we've been led to believe, what we did with the multipurpose building, it's a matter of signing off on that we're not changing the footprint, we're not changing any of the structure, we're leaving it the same. It's just of a replacement, which limits those requirements for that environmental review. One thing that we will need is a sign off from the fire marshal's office. We do know that that's coming, but that will be part of the engineering. There's a little bit of engineering that's also included in this project. So we'll get those engineering documents completed, sent to the fire marshal's office, get their signature off on the project. And that's a place where if we wanted, depending on that cost of engineering, we could request an engineering scope for both the roof and then in the future, if we wanted to do a replacement of the building just to see what that difference would look like. I'm guessing we can probably negotiate that as we work with them so that we have an idea in case it did make sense that we really wanted to do the whole building. But certainly we'll need it for the roof.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, then sounds like it should be pretty limited in nature, pretty straightforward. If we're not messing with any of the structure or the foundation, or certainly not doing any kind of excavations or anything. So,
Correct.
okay, sounds good. All right, go ahead and open it up to council for any questions, comments on resolution 25-50.
Mayor Campbell.
Yep, go ahead.
Hey, I just wanted to make a comment that since the last meeting and tonight, I've had an opportunity to take a walk in that building with Josh and look at the building, and I'm a lot less concerned than I was at the last meeting, just on what I learned. I think the roof I'm okay with that, is what I wanted to share. I'm okay with moving forward the roof, and they're going to change a few purlins, I'm understanding. But that I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it, but it's a freestanding building with pretty significant trusses. They're not, they're solid trusses. So, short of some siding down the road, I see where that's still a pretty good building.
Yeah, it looks like they're just gonna add some because those panels on there now have a pretty big span, so they're gonna add some purlins in there if I recall.
Is that the
Was the
reason for
plan.
adding the purlins is because of the span?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm good with it.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Vivian.
Yeah, well, thank you to our city manager for researching our inquiries from last meeting. I'm in favor of resolution 2550, and I really am excited that we can get that building in better shape than it is, and for both the city and the business that's using the space. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yep, thank you, Vivian.
Is it open for comment?
Yep, go ahead, Jack.
I guess where I'm having a problem is I see the 214,000, but there's nothing, a comparison for building a new building, what that would cost, so you could look at the difference between spending that money, what a new building would cost you, or even with, the environmental issues. And I priced buildings that size, and it's considerably less than the 214. I know there's a construction cost and different other factors, but it would be good if we could look and say, okay, we throw numbers out there that don't have any meaning at this point. If we could get a hard number and said, okay, a new building's going to cost you 300,000, then we can look at the 300 versus the 214 and make a decision of what's the right move to do. But right now, we don't have anything other than the 214 and nothing. I'd hate to think we'd spend 214 when we could have a new building for 300. That's, I guess, the point I'm making.
Okay. Anyone else? Yeah, I'll just chime in real quick. I mean, I understand where Councilmember Barber's coming from. I get that. I mean, I look at that building and look at the size of it and what it's going to take to put a new building. Yeah, I mean, obviously, we've talked about this before. The pre-engineered metal building is probably the cheapest piece of the whole project by the time you demo and haul off, go through permitting, full-blown design. I hope you don't run up against anything. Yeah, I think you're well into that for $1 million plus when it's all said and done at the end of the day, assuming you don't have to touch much concrete, but I'm sure with today's modern standards and snow loads and all that stuff, they'll definitely have to probably change out the foundation. I guess my point is I think if we were going to look at doing a replacement on that building, I would like to see that done through the CIPM process, to where we came up with a plan, discussed, what it means to actually change out that building. And if something like that was actually needed versus trying to, maybe relocate the tenants long term or something. I just hate to lose any more time on this to try to someone's going to have to do an estimate. So we're either going to have to hire an engineer to do an estimate, or we're going to have to do our own independent estimate to come up with the building costs. And by the time that goes, we're into this for another, at least another month or so. And then by the time we actually get this going out to bid, we may end up losing the entire season, when it's a possibility right now that we can still get this going and get it out, and then hopefully get the roof replaced late fall at this time. So yeah, I just think we don't have enough time to do that. But I do understand. But I mean, I know what I do for a living, and it's not going to be cheap these days to build in its entirety a new structure. So with all the goodies that have to go inside. But yeah, so as it stands now, I'm in favor of resolution 25-50 as it stands to accept it and use it for the roof replacement. And then, you know, I'd like to see in the future addressing Councilmember Barber's you know, request to the next time we talk about the CIPM to go ahead and, you know, we can get that added to that and then start that process like we have, you know, like we've done with all of our big infrastructure projects. So, but that's what I've got on 25-50. Anyone else? Any questions, comments on resolution 25-50? Okay, go ahead and open it up to the public. Anyone from the public wishes to comment on resolution 25-50?
I'm not seeing any hands, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we'll go ahead and bring resolution 25-50 back to council for final action this evening.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 25-50.
Okay, do we have a second?
Mayor Campbell,
Yep, go ahead.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Rojas to approve resolution 25-50 with a second by Kennedy. Any further discussion on resolution 25-50 before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the approval of resolution 25-50. All those in favor, Rojas,
Aye.
Kennedy,
Aye.
Payton,
Aye.
Langbart,
Aye.
and Barber.
Nay.
Okay, we have 4 in the affirmative, 1 opposed, and 1 absent. So motion does pass with 4 in the affirmative. All right, thank you everyone for that discussion. That'll take us down to item N, City Manager's Report. Quick one tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, next meeting will be the budget discussion and fee schedule discussion.
Yeah.
So for tonight's update, I just want to let everybody know, and this is in the laydown, that the Northern Geotechnical Engineering firm was here on May 6th, and they did perform the Upper Dam Periodic Safety Inspection. They will be sending a draft report within the next 30 days to DEC and to the city. And then in discussion with them, we were discussing the potential that they could assist in helping prioritize some of those maintenance needs and provide additional cost estimates to be able to utilize for future funding opportunities. So we'll continue to have that discussion on what that looks like. I did want to also let you guys know that we received 10 5 and an 1/8 inch water meters from another community. So our goal is to install one of those on the city's water line, make sure everything works, we know what we're doing, and then reaching out to those potential candidates for the pilot program and start the installation on some of the buildings around town. So that's exciting. We should see that happening in the next month or so.
Mayor Campbell, I just have one. What size line was that?
5 and an 1/8.
Oh, so it's got to be on the main.
No, I think Heidi, I think you're reading that wrong. Is that, and I was going to ask you about that. Is that 5/8 of an inch?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's kind of an oddball size. I mean, those should be a 3/4 or a 1 inch. Every water line in town is either going to be a 3/4 or a 1 inch.
Oh, and I'm
commercial service.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It actually move. They call it that, but it can go between a 3 1/4 and a 1 inch.
Okay.
If I remember right, when I was looking at it, me and Johnny were looking at that, and it had different sizes that it could. That's what they called it, but it could account for the different sizes. So we have to look into it a little bit more. We just got the box, and I'll let you guys know how that goes.
Okay, sounds good. And real quick, are they just a mechanical meter? There's no remote on those, right? These are just straight mechanical meters.
They come with matching wires and so so it's a meter, and then it's got the the head on top that actually does the metering, and then it has a matching wire that you can wire it outside of whatever space you have the meter in, and then it'll have a digital reading on the outside.
Oh, cool. Okay. So sounds like a legit meter then.
Yeah, they're Badger meters.
Okay. Oh, it is a
That's what-
Badger meter. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
So we're still working on the process, but we do have 10 of them, and hopefully they work.
All right. Cool.
City office and maintenance shop energy improvement project that included, we did the new door, and we're planning on doing some windows and man doors. But the big part of the project was insulation, doing a spray foam insulation on the inside of the shop. We've had some ups and downs as we work through this process. And we were discussing potentially changing the scope of the project to allow for other types of insulation. But I did speak with a local contractor today and went through the building again, and have made the determination that we're going to keep to the spray foam. That's what we wanted. That has the best it'll rating and provides the additional support to the building. It's just a matter of that batting that's in there right now is screwed down to all of the purlings, but it's accessible. And so we have a plan that we're going to cut it out, and it'll, we're not going to be unscrewing anything. We'll leave the purlings the way they are, but we'll cut it out and then spray foam once that batting is removed. So we had some questions that we were waiting on answering. We were able to answer those today from a few of the companies that went out there. We do have 3 companies that are interested in performing this project. And it closes, since we extended the timeline, it closes next Monday on the 19th. So we'll be presenting potentially on the 27th a request to award.
Hey, Heidi, can I ask
Yes.
a question?
Yes.
So if you get a contractor on board and they perform the work, was there any kind of engineering review or fire marshal review on this?
No.
Okay. There's one word of caution here, and you may need to get this looked at. So if you spray that urethane on there, depending on the occupancy type of that building, and especially since it's an industrial type classification in there, there are parts in the code where that you can't necessarily have in all cases that exposed urethane just left open to the elements. There's a lot of times when it has to be completely covered with, like, say, gypsum, for example.
We do have it included that let me pull it up exactly. There was a covering that was included. Let me see. Let me find that answer here real quick. So we did include that. Let me see. Paint that it would be painted with a fire stop paint to an industry standard of 15 MIN, so I'm assuming minutes, FS barrier. So fire stop paint for the foam.
Okay. And so I just want to make sure that that you probably at least bounce that off somebody to make sure that we're not committing any issues that we're going to regret after the fact. And make sure that 15 minutes is enough of a barrier, and that we don't need a 45-minute or 1 hour or anything like that. So
will do.
That was the only thing I was thinking of. So, and that could be just in a quick code review to an architect that would give you that information, and or even the state fire marshal's office.
Yeah, we have a great contact at the fire marshal's office, so I'll follow
Yep.
up with them.
Perfect. Sorry to get sideways on that one.
No, that's great. That's good feedback. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So coming up next then, we did have, or I did want to let you guys know that you have an invitation from the KB NER. They have a fresh water resources workshop coming up at the Homer Reservoir on June 6th. That's a Friday. So it'll be in conjunction with the KB NER and the city of Homer. If you guys would like to attend, please let us know so that we can arrange travel. You'll see that flyer is in the packet on page 7. We'll give you a little bit more information about it. And you get to visit their reservoir and see what they've been working on over in Homer. So please let us know if you would like to attend. Speaking of the KB NER, they also helped assist us along with the University of Alaska Anchorage with completing a pre-proposal for the Seldovia wetland project as previously discussed. So that's a wetlands assessment of our properties here in town, as well as they included a hydrology component just to see where our water is coming from, and then that'll help provide like a priority list. Priority is not the right word I'm looking for, but like a scale of determination on the properties for what needs to be, held onto and preserved versus what has potential for being developed, and start that process as discussed. So if that project is selected, the full proposal will be due July 17th. We've got several entities involved that are pretty excited. The UAA wanting to do a lot of the work. Seldovia Village Tribe has signed on to do some of the work here locally as well. And I think it'll be just a really good partnership all the way around. The 2014 comprehensive plan update. I'm excited. This has been a little bit delayed, but we're seeing some progress moving forward now. If you didn't catch it earlier today, we did put out a public notice, and that's on the website, Facebook, as well as, has it been posted around town yet, Liz?
It will be tomorrow.
Will be posted tomorrow with a QR code that will take you to a virtual meeting page where you can view the plan in its entirety if you'd like, as well as past plans, and then be able to look at the recent scoring that was done by the Seldovia Planning Commission and staff regarding where the city's at with their focuses and goals, and then asking for feedback on if these focuses and goals are still applicable, what's worked, what hasn't worked, are there additional goals and focuses that individuals would like to see included. And then we'll take that, we'll have a community meeting and we want those comments back by June 16th. And we'll have a community meeting following that, where we'll ask some of those same questions, and then a follow-up meeting where we compile it and then look for feedback based on the input we've received for a draft plan. And so then that'll help really hopefully give that more that better picture of where we're at now and where we want to go. And then that will follow up with meetings with the Planning Commission and the council to make sure that everything is in the scope of the city, or at least that we're delineating what is and isn't in the scope, so that it's a great roadmap moving forward. I also received from AML today that they have started working on updating our community profile in the plan. So that's really exciting. A lot of work already going into that, and we can use that in future discussions as well, just to show, where we've been versus where we are now, and some projections of what the future entails versus what input we received from the community. So I really hope you guys all have a chance to go to that link and fill it out and give your feedback and let everybody else know. That way we have a good start on feedback from the community. KPB Tourism Industry Working Group, I told you guys I'd let you know when the next meeting is scheduled, and that will be for this Thursday, May 16th. At the last meeting on April 10th, they did present a final report. I've already stated this, but I will again, that final report recommended implementing or exploring implementing a seasonal tax. So 4% in the summer, 2% in the winter. It was not approved by the group, and then they requested from the assembly that their working group have an extension. So that was granted. The meeting will be on the 16th, and I'll let you guys know how that goes. VSW project update. We did hear that the solicitations were on hold for our 3 projects. That's the Seldovia Water and Sewer Overview Planning Project, the Seldovia Sluice Sewer Improvements Project, and the Seldovia Sewer Treatment Improvement Project. That we were on pause while they were requesting an extension for 2 of the grant term dates. That extension was granted. So the solicitations are for those 3 projects are expected to go out by the end of next week. I'll let you know when we see them. Last couple things, just minor updates. Street sweeping went well, and there was a delay on returning the street sweeper due to a ferry cancellation, but I believe it has made it back. The employment vacancies, just an update overall in personnel. Allison Ryan has come back as the groundskeeper, and she's already making things look great. The outside beach in particular, Jack, I don't know if you've been out there, Councilmember Barber, but she did sweep and clean up and did some brush cutting and clearing around the outside beach pavilion, and it looks really good, which is great because we do have an event coming up on the 17th. And I know if Sea Mermaid Park, she's been putting up signage around town, and she believes she was working down at the storage yards recently. So definitely getting out there and getting things spruced up. Stan Coleman is also back on for harbor maintenance. And he had some issues with getting the harbor water on, but I did confirm with him today that it is fully on and functioning. So there was a blowout and he had to replace some parts, but it's going now. Speaking of cleaning up, spring cleanup project week is scheduled potentially or tentatively for May 19th through the 22nd. We did do a call out seeking for projects last week. Potentially we're looking at a Lake Susan trail work and pavilion cleanup project on that Monday and Tuesday, the 19th and 20th. Community trash pickup day on the Wednesday, and maybe a Seldovia cemetery work day on Thursday. Unless you have other project ideas or things you'd like to see or help and volunteer with, we're still looking for project ideas from members of the community. So definitely let me know if there's something you'd like to see done, and we'll do a post about that here a little later on this week. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thanks, Heidi. Any questions, comments for the manager? Let's see, Heidi, I have one. Let's see, where are we at? Any updates on Jackaloff on permitting for the dock?
Oh, yes, excellent. I did get an update for that today.
I'm just looking down here on the bottom here.
Yep, nope, I did just receive an update at 4:07 p.m. So we did receive a draft grant agreement from MARAD with their new terms and conditions. So we're working through that with them. We haven't had any updates with engineering because we're at 95% completion with that, and we're just waiting for MARAD sign off, and then we'll go to 100%. And then for the NEPA environmental assessment, we completed section 106 in the public comment period. And then we sent out our environmental assessment draft to section 7. So that went to the national, it went to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, and it went to NIMS. And then we have now, as of 4:36 p.m. Received back from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service that they have, based on our determination of no effect, that our responsibilities under the ESA have been met and that we can move forward with our project. So now that we have that, that'll get inserted into our full environmental assessment document, and we will close up, or we'll move forward with the state and local permitting. They like to do that last because they determine, or they base their determinations on the federal level. So basically, long story short, the federal reviews are complete as of today. And so we're moving on to state and local level. Once that's complete, that'll go back to MARED, and actually puts us just a little bit ahead of schedule because surprisingly, working with the federal agencies was pretty quick, and that's not usual. So they were able to do a pretty quick review and send their response back, and
So,
forward.
magic question, what's the bottom line on best case scenario when we can get an RFP out and get this thing out to bid?
Well, we're scheduled to get the RFP out in August. So I think we're still on track for that. Maybe we could get it out a little bit earlier, but I'm not going to count on that. I think we're still right on schedule for that August time period. Hopefully getting it awarded in September timeframe, and then that float installation, and that's the big kicker, because we're hearing, not installation, sorry, the float manufacturing, that's like an 8-month timeline to manufacture. So we're still looking at spring
Okay.
for actually construction.
Yeah, but if we're on schedule, that's kind of what I've been telling everybody. I've been a lot of people asking me here lately, and I've just tell them, hopefully, if all goes as planned, installation and use for next summer. So looks like we could still meet that if everything's successful. We can get piling in and get floats and then get them installed. So okay.
Yeah. Interestingly, for Alaska projects, the float manufacturer is also the piling producer. So that'll be, they come together kind of as a package deal. And then they get barged up and they can do the installation all at once. I guess the installation, what I'm being told is the installation process is not very long, but that manufacturing process, it takes a better part of a year.
Yeah, I would think the installation is going to go, I mean, like literally a couple days, because these are all going to come prefab, pin them together, get them around the pile, and be done with it. So, okay, sounds good. Yeah, that's exciting. Glad to see that's moving along. So, any other questions, comments for the manager? All right, thank you, Heidi. Appreciate that. Item O, informational items not requiring action. Introduction of ordinance 2509 was postponed pending a work session. Work session on the ordinance is tentatively scheduled for this Wednesday, May 14th. And I believe that is at 6 p.m., correct?
Correct, Mr. Mayor. It's scheduled for Wednesday at 6 p.m.
Okay. And that will be for, what do we even call it now? It's not commercial marine anymore.
Commercial business.
Commercial
district
business.
Currently.
Yes, commercial business. So this is all of our downtown stuff that we had some questions on. And so this will be a work session, opportunity to kind of go through the plan, and then yeah, hopefully we can get it back on track and get it reintroduced and approved here in the very near future. Okay, item P, executive session, none. Item Q, council and mayor comments concerning items not on the agenda. Rojas.
Just a big thank you for everyone and their hard work. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Vivian. Kennedy.
I don't have anything further this evening. Thank you.
Okay, Peyton.
Thanks, staff. You're great. Good job getting those meters sourced and ready so quickly, Heidi. That's pretty incredible. Exciting things happening.
Okay, thank you, Langbart.
no comment at this time, but thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. And Barber.
No comment.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone. Yep, pretty short tonight. Appreciate everyone's time. Thanks for the detailed manager's report, and excited to get the budget introduced so that we can put that behind us here by the end of the month. And let's see, next regular meeting will be on Tuesday, May 27th at 6 p.m. And I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn, Mayor Campbell.
Okay, we have a second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn by Kennedy, second by Rojas. Any objection to the motion? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Okay, good night, everyone.
Okay,
Good
have a good.
night. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, guys. Have a good one.